Another interruption. I just ate a whole
No
roll
one cares
of garlic.
a pound of garlic bread butcher
in 5 minutes. And I made
Oh my god, your breath smells so bad. Your breath smells so bad. Go away. No, it smells like garlic. Go away. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be filming a very exciting video. I'm going to be filming another book recommendations video, but it's a little bit different. It's going to be like my sour video, but Taylor Swift. So I'm going to be recommending you guys books based off Taylor Swift songs in honor of Red Taylor's version coming out a couple of days ago, which I'm obsessed with, by the way. I have been listening to it on repeat, the 10-minute version of All Too Well and the short film. I've watched it, I can't even count how many times I've watched it, and oh my goodness, it was so good. Dylan O'Brien, everything. And so I thought that I would film a recommendation video based on Taylor Swift songs. I'm not doing strictly Red songs just because I couldn't think of a book for every song on the album, but I'm just doing Taylor Swift in general. A lot of songs that relate to books off a bunch of her albums, but I've tried to do a fair few songs off of Red that work for books, so I'm super excited to share this with you guys today. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and let's just get into it. I'm probably going to be looking down on my phone a fair bit because I have the lyrics on my phone that I'm going to be reading you guys that relate to the books, and also all of the book recs are on my phone. So the first book and song is Archer's Voice. Archer's Voice, you guys know, is one of my favorite books of all time. I have it up there, I've read it so many times, I love it. And that follows Archer and Bree, and Archer is mute and Bree moves to this new town. She's running away from something that happened in her past, and she moves to this new town, and everyone in the town kind of avoids this guy who doesn't speak to anyone. Everyone thinks he's weird, a loner, and Bree is super intrigued by this, and she decides that she wants to be friends with him. So one day she's riding her bike past his house, her dog accidentally runs into his yard, and so she goes in there and it's like, oh my god, like, I'm so sorry. And she realizes that Archer is mute, and she's like, well, I know sign language, like we can communicate that way, I can teach you. And they become really good friends, and that slowly turns into a love story, and I'm literally obsessed with this book. Archer is the best book boyfriend ever. He is the sweetest character. I am literally obsessed with him. He's such a sweetheart, and this book is just so good, and the love that Bree and Archer have for each other is everything. So the song that I picked for this book is You're In Love of the 1989 album. This song, it's so good for starters, but it just works so well for this book. Obviously the line, you can hear it in the silence, you can feel it on the way home, you can see it when with the lights out, you're in love. Like, you can hear it in the silence, is literally Archer and Bree. Like, obviously Archer doesn't talk, they don't talk when they communicate, they talk through a sign language, so you can hear it in the silence that they're in love. It's just everything. This whole song is literally just them. Like, you can hear it in the silence, you can feel it on the way home, you can see it with the lights out, you're in love, true love. It's just stunning. One night he wakes, strange look on his face, pauses and says, you're my best friend, and you knew what it was. He is in love. Because they start as like a friendship, and they become like best friends, and then they fall in love with each other, and it's just like stunning. And you two are dancing in a slow go of round and round, and he keeps his picture of you in his office downtown, and you understand now why they lost their minds and fought the wars, and why I spent my whole life trying to put it into words. You can hear it in the silence. Like, it's just like that bridge works so well, especially for like the ending. If you guys have read the book and you know what happens in the end with like the whole Archer situation and what happens with him, he keeps the picture of you in his office downtown. Like, I feel like he would so do that. So that is the first book and song recommendation I have for you guys today. Okay, the next book recommendation that I have is Throttled by Lauren Asher. This is the first book in the Dirty Air series. I am actually currently reading this series right now, and it's so good. This is the first book, and this is about Noah and Maya, and Noah is an F1 racer, and Maya is the brother of Santiago, who is also an F1 racer, and basically they're rivals, Noah and Santiago, and they hate each other, but then they get put on the same racing team and they're forced, you know, spend a lot of time together, be teammates, and obviously Maya's going to be around all the time because she's Santi's brother, and Noah and Maya are super attracted to each other, but it's like it's forbidden because of the whole Santiago and Noah not liking each other, their rivalry. Even though they're on the same team, they still don't like each other. It's like they're not meant to be together. Noah's older and it's just like forbidden, but they can't fight that attraction they have to each other. Noah is a bit of a fuckboy, he sleeps around, he doesn't want a relationship. Maya's the type of girl that wants a relationship, and it's just like everything is kind of against them, but they can't fight their attraction for each other and things happen. And the song that I've picked for this is State of Grace, of Red Taylor's version, of course, and this song works perfectly, especially the chorus. I never saw you coming and I'll never be the same, because Noah never saw Maya coming. She showed up one day and he was like this guy who slept around a lot, never really wanted a relationship. He saw Maya and everything kind of changed, not at first. If the only way he can have Maya is in a relationship, then he's willing to do that and willing to try for her, even though he's never been in a relationship before, but he wants to put in the effort for her, and he realized that he wants that with her. And you know, like, he never saw her coming, he never saw any of that happening, he never saw himself settling down this early in life and finding this girl who he wants to spend the rest of his life with, and he'll never be the same after that, you know. So You Were Never a Saint, and I loved In Shades of Wrong, We Learn to Live with the Pain, Mosaic, Broken Hearts, but this love is wild and brave, or brave and wild, sorry, can I speak? No. Yes, like, he was never a saint. He was this bad boy guy who sleeps around, you know, like, and Mosaic, Broken Hearts, you know, like, it just works. This song just works. Like, it's just like we fell in love till it hurts or bleeds or fades in time. Yes, this is a state of grace. This is the worthwhile fight. Love is a ruthless game unless you play it good and right. Like, just the whole song just works for them. So the next book and song rec I have is Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. This book is stunning, and the song I picked for this, Cruel Summer. This song works so well for this book. So this book is about Bea and Samson, and basically Bea and Samson are complete opposites. Bea comes from this really poor home. She has a really bad home life. She didn't have a good upbringing. She doesn't really have much, and Samson comes from a lot of money. He was brought up really well, very well looked after environment, and basically Bea's mum passed away, and she is kind of like has no choice but to call her dad and is like, hey, can I come stay with you? I don't really have anywhere else to go, like, can I come stay with you until I go off to college? And her dad agrees. She doesn't really have a close relationship with her dad. She just never has been super close with him. And so she ends up moving in with her dad, and she meets Samson at this summer home. But she meets Samson and they don't think that they can ever work, and a relationship can never really come from them being together because they're so different. But they realize that they have more in common than they thought they did, and they actually relate to each other a lot more than they thought they did, and they start becoming friends. They form this bond, and then they decide that they are obviously super attracted to each other. They're gonna have a summer fling that is never gonna amount to anything, and so they start this, you know, summer fling, and things happen, and there's a big plot twist. If you know Colleen Hoover, you know there's gonna be a plot twist that's gonna break your heart and put it back together all in the same moment. It's a roller coaster, but this book is so good. Their relationship is everything, and Cruel Summer literally works so well, because the way that I interpret Cruel Summer is like an enemies to lovers relationship, where you don't want each other, but you can't help that attraction, but you don't want to fall in love, and that's literally them. They're enemies at the start. They do not like each other, but you know, slowly things do happen. Bridge, literally them. Literally them. And I'm drunk in the back of the car, and I cried like a baby coming home from the bar. Said I'm fine, but it wasn't true. I don't want to keep secrets just to keep you. That line, I don't want to keep secrets just to keep you. Oh my god. If you've read the book, you know that line relates to them perfectly. And I snuck in through the garden gate works. Every night this summer just to seal my fate, and I scream for whatever it's worth. I love you, ain't that the worst thing you ever heard? And he looks up grinning like a devil. But I love you, ain't that the worst thing that you've ever heard? They both don't really believe in love. They both don't really think that they're gonna fall in love with each other. They both don't want to. Both haven't really been raised in families that have a lot of love represented in them and good relationships and positive relationships. And it's like, so I love you, like, isn't that the worst thing that you've ever heard? Perfect, stunning, amazing. They're literally a cruel summer. The next song and book I have is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover once again. I feel like every single person has read this book, but it just works so well for the all too well 10-minute version. Lily and Ryle are all too well 10-minute version. I'm sorry, like, you can't change my mind. They are the epitome of that song. Especially like the short film was giving me Lily and Ryle vibes, especially because the girl, like the actor in the short film, I don't remember what her name is, but she has red hair, and so does Lily in the book. And I'm like, oh my god, is this Lily and Ryle? Am I seeing it in real life? Like, obviously we know it's becoming a movie, but like, it worked. It worked so well. And like, obviously the song starts off really like lovey, like I walked through the door with you, the air was cold, but something about it felt like home, and I left my scarf there at your sister's house and you've still got it in your drawer even now. Your sweet disposition and my wide-eyed gaze, we were sitting in the car getting lost upstate. You know, like the whole like lovey, like, oh my god, like we're so in love, everything's so perfect, everything's going so well. And then obviously as the song goes on, we know that it gets progressively worse and the relationship is tearing and it's failing and it's not going well, and obviously complications happen in books. That's what happens and It Ends With Us. If you've read the book, you know why this song works so well. I don't really want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't read the book, but literally this song is Lily and Ryle. Down the stairs, I was there, I remember it all too well. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Kept me like a secret, but I kept you like an oath. That line doesn't really relate to the book. That line broke me. Oh my goodness. Sacred prayer, and we swear to remember it all too well. Maybe we got lost in translation, maybe I asked for too much, but maybe this thing was a masterpiece till you tore it all up. Yes, yes. Running scared, I was there, I remember it all too well, and you called me up again just to break me like a promise. So casually cruel in the name of being honest, I'm a crumpled up piece of paper lying here, because I remember it all. They say that all's well that ends well, but I'm in a new hell every time you double cross my mind. This whole song works so perfectly for Lily and Ryle. But the mistake, if you know, you've read it, second book in the Off Campus series, Logan and Grace are my favorite couple. And basically Logan is this, you know, guy who sleeps around, never really had a girlfriend, doesn't really want a girlfriend, and he actually ends up walking into Grace's room when he's looking for this party, I believe. And as soon as he walked in, she knew he was trouble. Like, she knows him, she knows who he is, she knows who he is around campus, like, you know, words get around about what John Logan does. And so like, once upon a time, a few mistakes ago, I was in your side, so you got me alone, you found me. I guess you didn't care, and I guess I lacked that, and when I fell hard, you took a step back without me, because I knew you were trouble when you walked in. It's a shame on me now, and I flew me to places never been. So you put me down, I knew you were trouble when you walked in. Like, it's just like you, we all knew that John Logan was trouble when he walked in, but we love him. The next good song recommendation I have is We Are Never Getting Back Together, and the score. Okay, so this one is not really about the score as in Dean and Ali, it's more about the score as in her relationship with Sean, her ex-boyfriend. So basically, everyone knows what the score is about, I feel, but this relates specifically to Ali's relationship with her ex, and so they are a couple that breaks up and gets back together and breaks up and gets back together, and they can't really let go of one another, and that's literally what happened. What, like, the song We Are Never Getting Back Together is about. Like, they broke up and got back together and broke up and got back together, and then she just had enough and she was like, no, like, we are never getting back together, like ever. If you know, Sean called her up multiple times, was like I want you back, and Ali's like, no, like, we're never getting back together. Like, she used to think that they were like forever, so I used to think that we were forever ever, and I used to say never, and he calls me up and he's like, I still love you, and I'm just like, this is exhausting, you know, like, we are never getting back together, like ever. like is literally their relationship. So this one isn't really about like the whole book, but it's about her relationship with her ex and how he just wants her back, and she's like, no, like I've had enough, like I don't want to deal with that. The next book and song recommendation I have is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I absolutely love this book with my whole heart. It's so comforting to read, and it's just like such a comfort book, and it just makes you feel all like warm, and it's just a great book. So this is about Macy and Elegant, and basically this book is told in dual timelines, and so you're flashing between the past and the present, and in the past you're seeing Macy and Elegant meet for the first time and fall in love, like become friends and then fall in love for the first time and just form that sweet and wholesome friendship that slowly turns into love. And then in the present time, it's 11 years later. They haven't spoken in 11 years because of something that happened in the past, and in the past you're building up to what happened to make them have a falling out, and then in the present you're seeing them meet again for the first time in 11 years and rekindle that friendship and rekindle that love that never really went away. And it's just stunning, and this song, like Everything Has Changed, is just so perfect. And especially if you've seen the music video, like I know it's been years since the song first came out, but the music video with like, if I'm remembering correctly, with like the little kids and then they like grow up and like fall in love, and it's just like everything has changed in the present time, but that love is still there. And yeah, this book is literally stunning, and if you haven't read it, what are you doing? Go read it right now. All I've seen since 18 hours ago is green eyes and freckles on your smile in the back of my mind, making me feel like I just want to know you better, know you better, know you better now. Like since meeting him again, she just wants to know him better, he wants to know her better, like who they are now. I just want to know you better now, because all I know is we said hello and your eyes look like coming home, and all I know is a simple name and everything has changed. Like all I know is you held the door, you'll be mine and I'll be yours, and all I've known since yesterday is everything has changed. Literally so perfect for them. Like they meet again and it's like we said hello, and like you felt like home, like your eyes looked like coming home, and it's like perfect for them. But everything's changed, you know, they're older now, things are different. Obviously everything that's happened in the past, they haven't even spoken about that, but like you'll be mine and I'll be yours, like they're always gonna be there like for each other, and they're always gonna have that love, and it's just stunning. And this song is just perfect for them, and I love this book so much. The next book I have is Wrecked by Lauren Asher. This is the third book in the Dirty Air series. I just recently finished this one, and oh my god, it was stunning. This is about Jax and Elena, and basically Jax is an F1 racer and his career is just going down the drain. He parties, he does all this bad, reckless stuff that gets him in a lot of trouble and has ruined his reputation. So Elena gets hired. She is a PR like representative person, and she is there to help Jax clean up his reputation, like plan events and stuff to help clean up his reputation, but also keep him in line and stop him from partying and drinking and, you know, being reckless. And so she's essentially his babysitter, and she moves in with him. It's forced proximity, and they're around each other all the time, and you know, they don't like each other, it's enemies to lovers. Things eventually do happen, and he's British, so I've picked London Boy. I love this song, actually stunning. And they go to London in the book, and it's just like stunning. Happened. I heard him laughing, I saw the dimples first, and then I heard the accent. They say home is where the heart is, but that's not where mine lives. You know, I love a London boy. I enjoy working Camden Market in the afternoon. He loves my American smile, even though she's not American, she's Mexican, but we'll pretend. Like a child when our eyes meet, darling, I fancy you. It's just perfect. So I guess all the rumors are true. You know, I love a London boy, I fancy you. And I love high tea, stories from uni and the West End. You can find me in the pub. We are watching rugby with his school friends. But this line specifically, they say home is where the heart is, but God, I love the English. I'm like, yes, yes. But just the whole song just works, like for the vibe of this song is just like Jax and like, you know, London, and the whole like, it's just everything, and it just works so well. Plus I love this song. Okay, the next song and book I have is November 9 by Colleen Hoover. This book is stunning. I'm obsessed. So this follows Ben and Fallon, and basically Ben and Fallon meet, and they meet on the day that Fallon is leaving for New York. But they have this instant connection, and they just like want something to happen between them, but it can't. She's leaving. So Ben and Fallon, they meet on the day she's leaving. Nothing can happen between them. Ben's an aspiring author, Fallon is this actress who got in this really bad accident, and so her career's kind of gone down the drain. Her dad is awful to her, and so they decide that Ben is going to write a book based on their relationship, but they don't want to just have an ordinary relationship. So they decide that every year on the 9th of November they're going to meet and they're going to spend that whole day together and that whole day in contact, and that's the only day that they have contact throughout the whole year. They don't see each other or talk to each other or have each other on social media or have any contact throughout the whole year, but on that one day they're in a relationship, they're together, and it's stunning. And so they spend the first November night together, and then Fallon leaves, and then they don't see each other until the next year, and the next year, and the next year, and it goes on, and it's literally stunning. This book is so unique. I've never read anything quite like that, and obviously in true Colleen Hoover fashion there's going to be a plot twist, it's going to be heartbreaking. I feel like Begin Again works so well for this. The whole first verse about, like, you know, this guy being a super nice gentleman, like, you pull my chair out and help me in, and you don't know how nice that is, but I do. And you got up early, you stand and wave, and I walk to you, pull my chair, and blah blah blah. Like, right, that works so well for how Ben and Fallon meet. If you've read the book, you know, and like how nice he is to her at the start, like a complete stranger who he literally swoops in and saves her from this awkward situation. And you throw your head back laughing like a little kid. I think it's strange that you think I'm funny, because he never did. And I've been spending the last 8 months thinking all love ever does is break and burn and end. But on a Wednesday in a cafe, I watched it begin again. Now, I don't know if it was on a Wednesday or in a cafe, but on this day at this restaurant, she watched it begin again. She watched love begin again, and, you know, gave her hope that, you know, love wasn't this terrible thing that doesn't work out, and her life just basically began again as soon as she met Ben on that November night in that restaurant. So on a Wednesday in a cafe, watching it begin again kind of works. Okay, the last song and book recommendation I have for you guys today is Ruthless Night by Maya Hughes. This book is so good. It's the third book in a series. I do recommend reading them in order. You can read them all as standalones, but you just get the friendship group dynamic better if you read them in order. But anyway, the third book is about Avery and Emmett, and this book is a second chance romance. Avery and Emmett were high school sweethearts. They were so in love. Everyone thought they were going to get married, have kids, spend the rest of their lives together. But then something really bad happens and they end up breaking up. And, you know, this is kind of awkward considering they're all in one big friendship group. So whenever Emmett's there, Avery's not. Whenever Avery's there, Emmett's not. They will not be in the same room with each other. They will not be around each other, all because of this thing that happened that ruined their relationship, and they don't want to be around each other literally ever. And so they end up going on this big, like, getaway trip to celebrate two of the boys graduating college. Originally Emmett's going and Avery's not going because obviously Emmett's going, but then Emmett ends up cancelling. He's like, I have to do this thing with my parents, like I can't come. And so all the girls convince Avery to come, and she's like, reluctantly she agrees. She doesn't really have time. She has to look after her sister and she works a lot, and, you know, she ends up going on this trip and Emmett ends up showing up. And you know how awkward that is for them, considering they hate being in the same room. Avery's like, no, I'm leaving. Emma's like, no, I'm leaving. And everyone's like, oh my god, guys, just stay. And this book is just so good. But I feel like Red really works so well for the parts of their relationship when they weren't together. And, like, obviously you get the whole build up to what happened and what caused them to have this big breakup and never speak to each other. So, like, losing him was blue, like I'd never known. Missing him was dark grey, all alone. Forgetting him was like trying to know somebody you never met. But loving him was red. Like, loving him was red. Loving him was perfect and stunning and amazing for them to be together. But losing him was terrible. It was blue. And missing him was dark grey. And that works both ways. So, like, from Emmett's point of view, that works as well. Like, missing her was like dark grey, and, you know, like, but loving her was red. And, like, forgetting him was like trying to know somebody you never met. Touching him was like realizing all you ever wanted was right there in front of you. Memorizing him was as easy as knowing all the words to your old favorite song. Fighting with him was like trying to solve a crossword and realizing there's no right answer. Regretting him was like wishing you never found out that love could be that strong. Like, just this whole song really works for their relationship, like remembering all those memories when they were together, when everything was good, and that love that they had. But then obviously the whole breakup period where they just miss each other, they wanted each other back, but, like, it just, like, they couldn't be with each other. Like, this whole song just really, really works. Remembering him comes in flashbacks and echoes. Tell myself it's time now, I gotta let go. Moving on from him is impossible when I still see it all in my head. In Burning Red. literally perfect. Yeah, that song literally works so well, especially the chorus. And that is all the song and book recs that I have for you guys today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a really fun time filming it. And if you guys want to see a part 2 to this, or want me to do another artist, like I can do Harry Styles, One Direction, like you guys know I love Harry Styles and One Direction, or like any other artist or any other album or anything, I can definitely do that for you guys. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.